Purple Daily is daily Vikings entertainment. We just want the Vikings to win a Super Bowl before we die.
I will ride with this group.
Seriously, man. Please.
And away we go.
The 4 Downs edition of Purple Daily here. This is a bonus edition that we are mixing in every week.
Everybody hold your water.
That's right.
Yep.
What's up?
Where we'll give you first down, second down, third down, and a 4th and 8, and send you on your way here
So
on
if
this
this
Thursday.
was a CFL podcast, we would actually cut out a down.
Be 3 downs. Yeah. It'd be tough. It'd be a shorter podcast. Or you'd have to,
They're on
talk longer on all 3 or
They're onto
something to
something.
fill a space. So, and there's a couple defensive things, injury-related things to get to, so plenty here in the bag. Judd has been you were out at the Wednesday Kevin O'Connell press conference. You were out at the practice facility yesterday. So, but hey, Federated Insurance is here, basically like a great offensive line for your business, here to protect you so you can focus on growing your business. Federated is all about putting together a game plan of coverages and risk management services to help you continue your winning streak as a business owner. At Federated Mutual Insurance Company, it's our business to protect yours. They've been in business based in Owatonna, Minnesota since 1904, over 100 years of experience protecting businesses. Federatedinsurance.com. Also, the Minnesota Renaissance Festival is still happening for the next few weeks. Weekends through September 29th. You can throw axes, wield swords, watch live armored combat jousting.
Woo!
On the food side, tasty turkey legs, Nordic meatballs, pork belly burnt ends, and 16 stages of entertainment. Great place for the kids as well. Discounted tickets available at renaissancefest.com. Okay, first down.
Green 18! Green 18!
Defensive vitals. What do you make of this? So remember last year, Brian Flores had to go deep in his bag to figure out, okay, I've got one healthy, viable edge rusher in Danielle Hunter. My down lineman on defense, Harrison Phillips is very good, but I don't have organic pressure guys up front. Marcus Davenport is a theory who's always on the injured list. How do I make quarterbacks uncomfortable? And his answer was, I am going to, by a mile, lead the league in blitz rate. The Vikings had I don't have the numbers from last year in front of me, but they blitzed on, I believe, over 50% of defensive snaps. Mm-hmm. And they weren't even really near the top of the league in pressure rate. So even to get league average pressure rate, they had to blitz by far more than any other team in the NFL. Well, week 1, it's just week 1. The Giants, Andrew Thomas, the Giants have a couple dudes on their defensive line, but
Oh, God, yeah.
this is what's interesting. So Brian Flores essentially cut his blitz rate in half in week 1. The Vikings blitzed on 24% of defensive snaps, which put them basically middle of the pack in the NFL. And so even only blitzing on 1 in every 4 dropbacks, the Vikings had the 3rd highest pressure rate of any team in the league. They got pressure on almost 40% of Giants pass attempts. So, this is kind of in the weeds and statistical, but at the end of the day, in a perfect world, you would never blitz if you could only get pressure with your front 3 or front 4 and drop everybody else back into coverage. That would be amazing. The Vikings were sort of the opposite last year, but what do you make of it's a week 1 sample size, but they didn't have to blitz a lot to get a ton of pressure on the Giants passing game?
So the stat from 2023 was that the Vikings sent 5 or more defenders after the quarterback 48.8% of the time. Only the 2019 Ravens had blitzed at a higher rate, 50.2%, since NFL Next Gen Stats began tracking this stat in 2018. So that gives you an idea of exactly how much Flores was trying to compensate for the fact that he didn't think that his primary guys could get home. And that was with Danielle Hunter, who got home, 16 times or something like that. Yeah. What I make of it is what we've been talking about for quite some time, which is the personnel now fits what Flores wants to do. If you look at the rush end room, it's a very different room. And I'm not just talking names. I'm talking body sizes. Grenard is lean. Now he does look the part, but he's lean. Dallas Turner does not look the part because he's smaller, but this is what the new age outside rusher can do. Van Ginkel is lean. So what we're seeing here is guys that not just can get home because we probably focus too much on sacks, but can apply pressure. Now, to your point, they did it to Daniel Jones. So let's see what happens when they attempt to do it to Brock Purdy. Also, San Francisco has a great left tackle, so that's going to make it a little bit different as well. But what I saw on Sunday was Brian Flores, instead of having to sort of piecemeal a scheme together based on what he was given, the ingredients, right? He went out and helped shop. And so now it's like the cornerbacks are a lot less likely to be exposed for all that we've been concerned, right? And they've signed Gilmore, which I think was a really good move. But for all that we were concerned in the off season about, oh my God, the cornerbacks, what's going to happen? Well, guess what? If you can get pressure with just the primary line guys, if you can get pressure with 4, then everyone else can help out on the back end, and it alleviates that. So what I saw last year probably impressed me more from this is incredible that he can get away with this, and until December he did, but this is his system now. And you know what, Phil? This comes back a little bit to something that the both of us, and you especially, have talked about for a year plus now, which is Dolphins year 1 with Flores, Dolphins year 2. Again, he went out in year 2 and got the ingredients. And when he has the ingredients, I think it becomes much simpler to cover up for areas of potential concern, which you can now do.
Yeah, and here's another statistical vital here too, that because you mentioned that we focus a lot on sacks, and really I think most defensive-minded people in the NFL would tell you it's pressures are, because yeah, sack is great, and obviously a sack can end a drive or derail a drive, but pressures can subtly derail a play, or it can rush a progression.
Yep.
It can, because everything is choreographed timing. So if you can move a quarterback off a spot or whatever, and maybe get him to throw a check down or something shorter. So I found this really interesting too. And some of this is obviously they're playing Daniel Jones, and he's not going to be the best at overcoming pressure. But the Vikings defense allowed the second lowest average depth of target on passes in week 1.
Football.
Only 4.8 yards through the air on average for those Daniel Jones passes, which tells you he's checking down. Some of it was schematic. They were maybe doing quick hitting, that pass they tried that Andrew Van Ginkel picked off was a schemed quick hitting pass that went awry. But if you can get the third highest pressure rate, conversely, it's likely that you're going to force checkdowns. Now, on the flip side, it's funny, like the Houston Texans defense played against the Colts, right? And Anthony Richardson averaged 16 yards of air time or air yardage for his throws.
Sure.
So, because when he was pressured, it was like, I'll just throw about 70 yards down the field, which makes him a unique specimen. But yeah, pressure was forcing Daniel Jones to throw short, and pressure was forcing Giants to dial up plays that were maybe quicker hitting. And if you can make the tackles, boom, they're not going to be converting many first downs.
I think it's fair to say 2 things. One is what we saw on Sunday from the Vikings defense is probably not a direct reflection of the entire year because the Giants are so bad. But do I expect now, when you go on and play San Francisco on Sunday, Houston a week after that, do I expect that Flores' defense is going to get exposed? Absolutely not. Like, I think they have the template, provided, with the caveat, obviously, of most guys stay healthy, provided that you have your key guys. I think this defense is going to be across the board a lot more difficult to deal with than the 23 defense, because I think there are some really, really quality pillars of what Flores likes to do now.
Yeah. Okay, second down.
Everybody hold your water.
Shotgun, pistol, under center.
We're going to go under center for this one. Under center here. Okay, actually, you know what? No, let's go shotgun, 4 wide receivers to the right bunch, because
way back here. Way back.
Second down is an Andrew Van Ginkel question.
Oh boy.
he landed on the injured list, and you were out there for Kevin O'Connell's press conference, but Andrew Van Ginkel missed the end of last season with the Dolphins with a foot problem. Was it Liz Frank? Remind me, a Liz Frank injury.
Liz Frank, which is not the greatest thing to have.
And he really didn't get up to speed until training camp, and even like he was not like a full participant of training camp. They were monitoring his reps. And so he comes back wildly impactful in week 1, obviously, and Wednesday injury report comes out, and Andrew Van Ginkel is listed as having a foot injury, did not practice on Wednesday. So second down question is, how nervous should we be that the Ginkster, and I'll throw Jordan Addison in here too because he did not practice with the ankle injury. How nervous should we be here? You are muted, by the way, Sports Dad.
Jeez, I'd like to apologize. Man, that was an incompletion there. I threw deep, incompletion, long foul ball. Let's try that again. I'll start with Jordan. I don't think he's going to play. And he is now, it sounds like, sprained, including the one in Cleveland, to the opposite ankle of the one he hurt on Sunday against the Giants. That was a high ankle sprain, which he came back really quickly from. So I am concerned, but I think they're going to be smart there. And could this cause problems? Yeah, it could. Do I think that they're going to probably be as smart as possible? Yes, I do. The Van Ginkel one, I reserve my right to recall panic after practice today. So we are recording this, late in the morning on Thursday. The Vikings practice this afternoon. If Van Ginkel is held out again completely, I'm very concerned. If he takes part in part of practice, I'm less concerned. O'Connell said after the game on Sunday, and he did not address this long before the injury report came out on Wednesday about Van Ginkel. He said that he was taken out of the game on Sunday. Van Ginkel was as a precaution, and that it's, that there wasn't a lot of concern. If that's the truth, and this is just, hey, this is a bad foot injury to have, so we're going to be as careful as possible. And quite frankly, we were blowing the Giants out, and we're going to give you Wednesdays off, like for 3 weeks, a month. I don't know.
Yeah.
But I need to see the injury report today because the two most important days of practice are Wednesday and Thursday. And ordinarily, if you miss both of them, that is not good. So
we want to see like limited or full.
Yeah, I reserve the right to panic on Friday.
Okay.
Because a Liz Frank, I will say, has derailed careers before. Like, it is not something to scoff at and say, go back and play. So it does concern me. Also concerns me a little bit that, the game on Sunday at MetLife Stadium played on turf. The next 2 games on turf. Not a huge fan of the Liz Frank injury being tested on turf. I don't think it's easy on the foot.
Yeah. I mean, and he showed in week 1, he's a smart, athletic player. He's versatile.
Game wrecker, Phil.
He is a game wrecker.
He was a game wrecker.
He was a game wrecker in Miami. He was a game wrecker in week 1. And he's just to broaden this out beyond Van Ginkel too. I mean, when you start to look at the levels of this defense, and they ran like 16 or 17 guys in a regular rotation out when you account for all the different position groups. I mean, it's just, they've got depth and they've got line changes in certain spots. Yeah. There's time. They've got 5 different edge rushers they're mixing in. And if you look at every level, they've got like 1 or 2 smart veteran players that you're not out here, playing checkers or doing basic arithmetic schematically. Brian Flores can trust that guys like Van Ginkel, who've been around the block, guys like Harrison Smith, obviously. And I even think, even though Blake Cashman's pretty young and Ivan Pace is only in his second year, like those guys are advanced inside linebackers too, that you can, Harrison Phillips, Stephon Gilmore, the things you can do when you have smart veteran players who are still playing inside or close to their prime. You just hope that injuries don't put a wrench into this thing. So that's the one thing. I'm with you on Van Ginkel, man. Like, maybe it's just, hey, let's just be overly cautious here. But you would just hate in week 1 going into week 2 to see injuries start to bog this thing down personnel-wise.
And if he can't play on Sunday, yes, you still have Turner to start and Grenard as well. But I think all 3 are incredibly important. Like, I think they're all
very different too.
They're different and they played together. And so I would liken the Vikings edge room right now a little bit to the cornerback room in this sense. You need 3 corners. Like in today's league, you need 3. And with what Flores wants to accomplish, I think that you need your top 3 guys off the edge. I think the first time that they actually put a guy, that they put one of the rushers inside, it was Van Ginkel. It wasn't Turner. Turner and Grenard stayed on the edge. There were packages where they had 4 guys, 4 basically edge guys. So this is not a one where, oh, you know what, he's out, but we still got these 2 guys. I think it's very imperative to the success of what Brian Flores is trying to do that all 3 are healthy, because that's what creates question marks in the opponent's mind, and it creates potential mismatches that Flores can exploit.
Yeah. On just back to Addison for a second. So if he doesn't play, obviously Justin Jefferson will play. They beat the Niners without Justin Jefferson last year.
Addison had the game where that's the game where he ripped the ball away from the corner safety at midfield. I think he scored.
Yep. That was one of the plays of the year for the Vikings.
Absolutely.
So, but if he doesn't play, we're looking at, if they run 11 personnel for a certain chunk, which is 3 receivers, you're looking at probably Powell and Jalen Naylor as your 2 and 3 in some order. But would this mean Tristan Jackson gets a little bit of run?
And he didn't play at all. I think he was on the inactive list on Sunday against the Giants.
Or would Sherfield sort of step up?
That's a very good question.
I'd give Tristan a shot.
I feel like Sherfield's a very role-defined player, blocker. I don't know that he's going to be promoted. Like I do think that from the way the Vikings have talked now, there's no question, though, if Addison doesn't play on Sunday, the depth chart is Justin Jefferson, Speedy, a.k.a. Naylor, and then Powell.
Okay.
So I think that's sorted itself out for sure. And I don't think we've talked about this yet. It was interesting, too. So, and this was mentioned on the Fox telecast with your guy, Kenny Albert, and Vilma on Sunday. They very, very briefly mentioned in the production meeting with O'Connell that he had said that until Hawkinson comes back, that Naylor is basically going to play that role in some ways. I found that to be intriguing. So I think basically what he was saying is Munt will catch some passes, but we're going to lean on Naylor more to fill, because obviously TJ is a pretty dynamic tight end. So I thought that was intriguing that they're talking about Naylor's going to get opportunities that might go away once Hawkinson returns to the lineup.
And also, I mean, it was Josh Oliver that caught the big, it was like a 20, 25-yard reception up the seam. Underrated pass catcher. Josh Oliver is definitely here as just a big trucking, run-blocking tight end. But if you look at his production in college, I mean, he could catch some passes, and he could be a threat for sure. Super athletic.
He's got nice hands.
He does.
It's sort of weird because, like, from the second he signed from Baltimore here, he was immediately dismissed as he only blocks. Don't expect much.
He can catch passes.
I'd be hard pressed to go back and recall like big drops by him.
Knock on wood. Probably going to have one now against San Francisco.
That's a good point.
That we called him out.
Good point. I'd like to apologize for that. But anyway, yes, I agree. That guy can catch the ball.
Okay, third down.
Everybody hold your water.
Okay, shotgun, pistol.
This is going to be a wildcat. It's a wildcat formation.
Oh my God!
Here.
So I got to go off here.
So you're going to be off kind of down to the right side as the quarterback.
Right. See you.
Yep.
Bye.
So I've floated this now on a couple different shows this week, but let's talk about San Francisco for a second.
Mm-hmm.
The conditions are right for, like, everyone is on San Francisco. I was just texting with our guys Jeremiah Searles and Alex Boone, making some picks here via text, and I'm picking the Vikings right now. Like, we'll see what information comes in. I mean, I might if Van Ginkel's out, but we'll do the purple picks on Saturday. And these guys are just clowning me. You bleeping homer. It's the Niners. What are you doing? Well, it's the Niners on a short week coming off national Monday Night Football. It's the Niners traveling from West Coast to Central Time Zone for a noon game. So they'll be playing at body clock 10 a.m. West Coast time. Christian McCaffrey probably not playing in this game. And you got, if you want to talk about like true trap game checkbox things, division rival Rams week 3 I think it's a little cliche to say teams look ahead. I think they're all in immersed on the Vikings. And then for whatever it's worth, Sam Darnold spent the entire season in that locker room, in that scheme last year. Does Sam Darnold have a nugget or two that he could give to Brian Flores? So I don't know. I'm just saying the NFL does not go chalk games 1 through 16 every single week. There's always crazy things that happen. It's early in the season.
Yep.
And I think people are chalking this up to like an automatic win for the 49ers. And I don't view it that way.
I'd go San Fran right now, but I think the spread is too much. And
it's like 6.5.
That's really, really high. On the road, come on. So I would go San Fran right now because of this. The Giants game was impressive, but the Giants are so bad, I can't really gauge that game. Like, I love to see, I do give the Vikings, and we talked about this going back to Ventline on Sunday, I give them full credit for stepping on the Giants' throats. Like, that's something that the team had not done in years. So, and they definitely had not done with O'Connell as coach. So the fact that they snuffed out the Giants was a very encouraging sign. San Fran is really good. I mean, the Jets, I don't know yet, but that's a pretty good defense. McCaffrey didn't play on Monday. They still won. But I think it's going to be a close game. And I would not be shocked if the Vikings won. If the Vikings win too, Phil, I think that this could be a game, because there's a few of these every year, and especially because the season changes and morphs so much. If the Vikings win, I think that this would be far more than the Giants game, like a checkmark game to say, this is where we saw this. Like, this is where we saw Darnold's maturing as a quarterback really take place, or the Vikings run game really establish itself. So I think the Vikings have a lot at stake as far as there's a good chance. And I mean, this could take place if they lose, more so if they win, but you know, just as far as defining their personality, and what O'Connell wants, which is a team that does not do exactly what it did early last season, lose the football, but B is just tough too. So I am super excited to see this game and the Houston game, because those are two really good, tough teams. And I think we're going to see the Vikings unveil themselves as to who they truly are, at least in this quarter or early portion of the season.
Yeah, I also think there's a couple other forces at play here. I think the market undervalued the Vikings going into the season because they didn't really know what to make of the quarterback situation. They also didn't know what to make of the defense. For whatever reason, the Vikings defense has been largely panned or kind of clowned.
That one I don't understand. The Darnold one I do. That one I don't get.
Yeah. So, okay, so we take those two factors and say, okay, well, all we have to go off of is our own eyes and intuition throughout the offseason, and then what happened in week one. And what happened in week one against a bad team validated our thoughts about the defense, that, oh, this is
correct.
Whether you're a good team or a bad team, like, you're going to have your work cut out for you for 3 hours, and there's going to be some times where opposing offenses, I'm sure, get the best of Flores, but this defense is not a pushover. And then week one, Sam Darnold in a great system with weapons was awesome. He was 12 for 12 and was the second highest graded. So the things that, like, the best case scenarios that we thought we were looking at maybe throughout the offseason were validated week one against a bad team. So, like, my opinion that the Vikings were undervalued in the market at 6.5 was the common over-under win total.
Yep.
And then on the 49ers side, I think a lot of people saw what they did to the Jets in the first week and said, oh, man, they decimated that Jets defense. And, okay, but let's talk about the Jets for a second. They come out of the gate, and their offense with a 40-year-old quarterback coming off an Achilles. Dude hasn't been good since 2021. It's completely discombobulated. The timing is predictably off. Their brand new makeshift offensive line, where they have like almost an entirely new offensive line. It's going to take time. The Jets were going to look clunky on offense, and the Niners are a team that's been knocking on the door of a Super Bowl. Of course, that game looked lopsided in week one. It was probably supposed to. So I don't know. We'll see what happens, but I think a lot of people are riding this 49ers train maybe a little more aggressively than they otherwise would have if they played a different opponent in week one. And I think people were low on the Vikings when they shouldn't have been. going into the first game of the season.
So, the fact that we're only going to be in week 2, I think there's a lot of things we don't know. But let's examine what we do know, okay? What we do know is that San Francisco's style for years now has been physical. The Vikings are trying to match that. What we do know is, offensively, the Vikings have 2 tackles who are phenomenal. And so the pass rush, interior-wise, different story potentially, but from the edge, like O'Neal and Darisaw are really damn good. What we do know is that the Vikings' run game is improved. What we don't know is where the Darnold experience goes from here. Like, it looked really good for a week, but that's still... And I also would say if Addison sits out and McCaffrey sits out, and I expect them both not to play, I actually think that the Niners are in better shape because that run game just works, and Addison would be a major loss. Like to me, don't sleep on that. That guy is a number 1 receiver on a bunch of teams. And without him, I'm not saying that they can't win. I am saying, I think if I was to do check marks, I think the check mark is that hurts the Vikings worse than McCaffrey not playing. McCaffrey is a phenomenal player, but San Fran still came out and ran the ball really damn well. So, like, there's a lot of things here, but I'm just so curious, too, to go back to the next 2 games, is how does the Darnold experience with a good play caller and good talent, how does that evolve now? Like, where does that go? That I don't know.
Yep. And he's going to have, he's going to have clunkers at some point. It's not like he just switch.
I mean, that's really all you're asking. And by the way, if he does, he'll get a contract, multi-year, and there's nothing wrong with that.
Yeah. I think avoiding turnovers, turnovers have been a big thing for him in his career, and avoiding sacks. Just these derailing plays, and through play calling and having outlets, Jefferson's scheme, like Dan Orlovsky did a couple of great breakdowns from a wide receiver route running standpoint of just the things that Kevin O'Connell did. So yeah, the Niners are a team that will break your back in those 2 categories.
And now there's film too, Phil.
Yep.
So
okay, 4th and 8 is our last down.
Oh no, 4th and 8. Where do I know that from?
Yeah. Presented by Olivia here. It's tune-up time for the sports dad. Tune-up time for the sports dad.
That's correct. In fact, I got on the scale and I said, I've been off the program for quite some time now, and I've gained some weight back. So as Phil just said, tune-up time, and that means dropping the weight with the help from my friends at Livia Weight Control Centers. I stopped in my location a couple of days ago, got all set up to drop those unwanted pounds. I'm going to tell you right now, the one-on-one support there remains phenomenal. No guilt trips, you gained some weight back, huh, buddy? Instead, nothing but support. It's fantastic. Join their nutrition plan today and get your first 8 weeks for free. That's right, for free. Plus, their medical offers weight loss meds for accelerated results. Visit them, livea.com, livea.com, 855-GO, LIVEA, Livia, livea.com, and just quickly, inside or outside the state, because they can also do this whole thing through Zooms. So if you're a Vikings fan in New York, California, looking to drop some weight, Livia is the place to start.
Hey, does the thought of hanging your outdoor holiday lights give you anxiety, heartburn? Well, KW Outdoor Solutions comes in here to do it for you. They are your one-stop shop for outdoor holiday lighting. And I'll tell you what, we got the Halloween-themed lighting going on right now at our place, inside, a little bit outside. Big Halloween fan here. Love scary movie season. So maybe for you, it's holidays, or for Halloween, maybe it's holidays in a couple months. KW Outdoor Solutions offers design, installation, maintenance, takedown, and storage, roof lines, trees, shrubs. They will do it all. Check them out at kwouttdoorsolutions.com. Locally owned and operated, serving the Twin Cities Metro. That's kwouttdoorsolutions.com. Okay, 4th and 8.
Green 18! Green 18!
Hold the water.
Our last down here. We had some drama for a minute there on the internet last night, and Sports Dad had to put his investigative hat on.
Yep.
So, I think it was about a year ago, and we posted my interview when I was 8 years old in second grade with the legendary Purple People Eater, Carl Eller. And it's me with my Anthony Carter jersey on, sitting on a couch in his office. So my dad got to know Carl for a little bit there in the early 90s, just through a couple work projects. And we went out to lunch one day at the old Hubert's next to the Metrodome. And you can find this, by the way, there's a vault section of the Purple Daily YouTube channel, and you can find the interview. But he agreed to do, for a class project, a sit-down interview with 8-year-old Phil Mackey. And we put it out on the Purple Daily YouTube channel like a year ago. People seemed to think it was funny and pretty cool. And in retrospect, it was, I guess, the start of my career blabbing on a microphone like an idiot. So yesterday, Carl Eller puts out at Carl Eller 81. And by the way, the last time I ran into him and actually had a conversation was probably 2008 or 9.
Okay.
And I went up to him, and I was pretty young in media, had just graduated college, and he remembered. I said, "Hey, I'm Phil Mackey. If you remember, about 20 years ago or whenever it was, 18 years ago maybe at the time, you granted me an interview." And he said, "Oh, yeah, I remember. But I don't think I've talked to Carl in 15 years.
Okay.
So he tweets yesterday, at Carl Eller 81, "This guy interviewed me way back in the day and now has his own popular video podcast. Does anyone know who this is?" And it's a screenshot. I'll just put my phone up to the... It's a screenshot
Phil Mackey
here
and Carl.
in his office.
Who still could have played there.
Oh, man, he was
in great shape in that photo.
jacked. Yeah.
Yeah, he was.
And so someone had sent me a screenshot of this. And so I went on Twitter and I clicked on Carl's profile. And I saw Carl Eller 81 has blocked you on Twitter. And I was literally devastated. I'm like,
he was an offensive
man,
lineman,
I know I have a... Yeah,
Turned to an offensive lineman, he blocked your ass.
Right. I know I have a big mouth sometimes and, once in a while can say something critical about Vikings, but I'm like, I don't think I've ever said a cross word about the Purple People Eaters other than hey, you lost some Super Bowls or whatever.
Right.
So I'm trying to rack my brain. And then you jumped in and you tweeted at him, "Hey, Carl, I work with Phil." Is there a reason why you have, a bunch of people jumped in, why do you have him blocked? Why do you have him blocked? And I don't even know if Carl handles his own Twitter account or how that works, but apparently he or somebody fat-fingered trying to follow me and click the block button instead. Now, I think there's a conspiracy theory. I think there's a chance that maybe one of Carl's social media people was a diehard Cousins crusader and maybe got a little mad at one of my tweets and clicked block or something.
He's got a whole team. It could be. I mean, it might not be him, but I don't think that there's a team of cousins that could be. I think they just screwed up. I think they accidentally blocked you. I think
an innocent fat-fingered
I think
blocking.
they just made, I think he was trying to follow you or someone was, and they just hit block. But we have never, ever, ever denigrated those Vikings. I don't think we ever have.
No.
Nor would I. It's a team of my youth.
It is funny, though, when you go to click on someone's tweet or profile or whatever, and you realize they've blocked you, which is probably a handful of times for me.
I'm really proud of that, though.
Well, Adrian Peterson, who, by the way, is in the news, has got you blocked on Twitter.
Shocking he's broke. Cordell Patterson blocked me. Yeah. Adrian Peterson blocked me. The best was when former Twin failed pitcher Alex Meyer blocked me.
That's right. That's awfully sensitive.
I don't even know he's on. I tried to find him. I think he might be. I think he might have deleted his account.
The thing with him is he was always too tall to be able to repeat his mechanics.
Yeah, which is ridiculous.
Randy Johnson's 8 feet tall.
Bailey Ober is huge, and you know what he doesn't have a problem doing? Repeating his mechanics.
Yeah. So, but
I'm glad it's done. I'm glad we got this worked out.
I'm glad we are no longer estranged on Twitter.
I like Carl so much. I got the bobblehead.
That's awesome.
So there's Carl right there. Okay, Carl, we love you.
He's a legend, and I mean that is one of my core early childhood memories. He is a key fixture in getting me excited about Vikings football and sports. And my dad was a huge fan. So Investigative Judd got to the bottom of it yesterday.
Well, I could tell it upset you. It's not if a current day guy blocks you, you don't give a damn. Like it's almost
really,
a badge of honor if a current guy blocks you.
If Van Ginkel ever blocked me, I would be devastated. So please, Andrew Van Ginkel, if I do get a little, if you have a bad game and I get a little haughty on the mic, just take a deep breath. Please don't block me.
Great hair.
Yeah. The Vikings love signing guys who look like Vikings. I think that's what we're learning here. But Carl Eller 81, if you want to follow a Vikings legend on Twitter, maybe you weren't before. And I think they have like Purple People Eater logoed stuff now that they're, because I see Carl putting photos out of him. Like, here's one from the State Fair. He's eating a corn dog. And they've got like Purple People Eater memorabilia and stuff. So pretty cool. Anyways, he's a legend.
I'm glad it's all worked out.
A fun interaction yesterday on the internet. Speaking of fun interactions, why don't you interact maybe a quarter and a Viking scratch game ticket and interact and see if you can win some.
You mean like this one?
Prizes. Yeah.
The Vikings Classic. I love this. Okay. So the official scratch game, obviously, of the Vikings went up to $100,000 for, look at that right there, only $5. That's exactly right. Or better yet, second chance prizes include season tickets or an away game trip. Officially exciting. Minnesota lottery. Just say I am in. Must be 18 or older to play. And I got to scratch this off at some point in time too.
Oh, you're just going to. Oh, you're sitting on it.
I'm sitting on it right now, but I'm like,
I thought you went out and just got a new one every day or something.
you think Dawn would
give me
like
all
that?
your scratch game tickets?
Yeah. I got it. I'm a washing scratch games. $5, $500. I don't care what it is. But anyway, yeah, play responsibly too, I guess.
Yeah,
I'll just throw that in. I'll throw that in at the end. Play responsibly, but enjoy the scratch game, Minnesota Lottery.
All right, there's your bonus episode, 4 downs episode of Purple Daily here. We have a Feedback Friday tomorrow. If you missed Thor's Day, that's hot off the presses. If you missed the first Trenches with Boone, but Jeremiah Searles coming in as a backup for a film breakdown yesterday, you can check that out too. But yeah, Feedback Friday live at 10 a.m. on the Purple Daily YouTube channel, Purple Picks, and then, of course, Vikings Vent Line, the absolute place to be right after Vikings and 49ers on Sunday. We just want the Vikings to win a Super Bowl before we die.